Welcome to the Resilience Project Podcast with your host, leading the men's movement, Abdul Rabarbi.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Resilience Project Podcast. Now, today I am actually extremely excited for this episode. I'm going to be joined by a truly inspiring guest, Nimi, who actually will be sharing his powerful story of resilience and also transformation. Now, Nimi himself, from spending 28 years in the kitchen, in the pressure as a chef in the kitchen, a profession that is highly pressured and very, to come to your surprise, it's highly demanding as well, that he's going to be sharing with us. Now, Nim's journey is one of grit, growth, and also redefining priorities. Now, in this episode, we are going to be diving into the toil of long hours. Now, when I say long hours as a chef in the kitchen, we are going to be basically, you'll probably be extremely surprised the intensity of the hours that a chef needs to put into the kitchen. But the lessons that he's actually learned through parenting and how he's actually now helping others to embrace self-care and find purpose in their own challenges. So let's get straight into it. Let's invite Nimi into the podcast, into the call, and he is here now with us. Nimi, thank you very much for joining us on the Resilience Project. Hope you're doing well. How are you, Nimi?
Good to be here, brother. It's a pleasure of mine to be with you and with your listeners as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in with us. Now, Nimi, can you, before we actually really dig into what you're going to be sharing with us today, can you share with us or tell us a bit more about you, your 28 years in the kitchen, in the industry, and what was that experience actually like for you?
Certainly. Well, I started my chefing in '96. I was a young chef who was very passionate about cooking and being in the kitchen and then being under the pressure and getting the adrenaline rush. I remember my first training. My first training was in the first month of my training. I was 18 hours work, 6 hours rest, 18 hours work, 6 hours rest. I went through that for 30 days without a day off. So that's how passionate I was. Never that long hours put me off, and it was like not passionate for me. I would go back for more and more. Even if I finished in one section, I would go to another section and work there until my shift was finished, and I would come back and I would still think about how awesome it was. And that got me to places, and I went from India to Dubai, and I even worked in the royal family. It's called a sheikh team. The current sheikh in Dubai is where I work, and I worked in Jumeirah Beach Hotel and Burj Al Arab there. And then I moved from there to Australia 20 years ago. And then I've been here and I made my mark as head chef, running a pub. I even at one point of time I had my own restaurant, Indian restaurant. All those long hours and everything started to catch up with me when we had our first born, my son. My son name is Zain. Um, his name is really significant for us because in Hebrew it means God's precious gift. He was a precious gift. He was the one who showed us what life was actually. When he was 3 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. What that means for a parent is autism is a spectrum. So in a spectrum, it could be from language development to physical development or anything in between. So as a parent, you wanted to give the best for your children or a child. Uh, we were looking forward. He's our firstborn. We were really excited about it, but his language was delayed, and he wouldn't say a word. And then when we took him to the psychologist, they said he got autism. So that's when I had to take a break and push a break, and he was non-verbal in the beginning. So as a chef, I proud myself as a chef Like I cooked for sheikhs, I cooked in five-star hotel for celebrities. When I come home and I can't cook a meal for my son, and he wouldn't eat it. Think about it, failing as a father as well as a chef. In both the ends, I was failing. So I was like feeling really devastated. That's when the whole thing changed for me.
That would be extremely difficult, especially as a father, and fathers and dads really do want the best for the children. Must have been very difficult for you. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced during those years in such a very demanding field? I know we've spoken before off air, and I really want to get into the discussion of what happens beyond that point. Before we do, it came to my surprise that a chef is a very highly demanding work.
Certainly.
So yeah.
First two years of my son's life, mostly I saw him sleeping, and during my day off, I would see him, and I would be tired. And a lot of chefs would pride themselves as a unique blend of like now we would talk about it as a joke, even like now you're going back to civilian life. Being chef is a different class of people where we give a lot to the place where we work. And from my training, 18 hours of work, it didn't change much in terms of like giving in the kitchen. So you spend 14, 15 hours in the kitchen. A lot of people would have a break shift, so you don't see much of your family. You're spending more time in the kitchen. And even after my son was born, I was taking like it as if I would come home, take some rest, see my son, and then go back to work. A lot of time I would seem to not interact with him at all. So that's what my initial 2.5 years of my son's life was. That's where it went like, what am I actually doing? So that's where my turning point was.
Mentioning your son's autism diagnosis, and that basically that was a turning point for you. Can you share what that moment was like for you and for your family or for your partner or spouse at that time?
Certainly. So after 2.5 years working um, in pubs, when my son was born, I was the second chef in charge in the kitchen. So I proud myself like I can run a restaurant with 250 people. On a steak night, we would push out 250 steaks. So I was like really strong person in that way. Coming out of my son was in a childcare, and then they said, you need to take your son to a psychologist to just check out this is something we are noticing. So we booked an appointment. My wife and I went there, took him. He was a very cute baby, like he was playful and all thing, but he wouldn't say a word. He wouldn't even call mama or papa or anything like that. So we thought, okay, maybe he's having a delay in speech. And then once when they diagnosed, they took us through through a whole procedure of what was happening, and then they delivered the news like your son has got autism. And we didn't know as a parent, new parents, we didn't know what that means for us. And then they said, okay, is it something we need to do something? Is it something we did? We started blaming ourselves. First thing is we started blaming ourselves, and then we thought, why us? We never went through it could be a blessing in disguise or anything, but first instant reaction was, why us? What did we do wrong? And that was our initial gut wrenching reaction or knee-jerk reaction where what's going to happen. They said he needs care completely. What that means is we were living a different life. Now the whole thing has to change. For both of us as a husband and wife, we knew how to be with each other with our work and everything. And now my son is there. we didn't know how to take care of him. And we were standing outside. I can still remember we were standing outside the psychologist's office, and tears starts running from both our eyes, like we're bawling our eyes off. The moment, when my son put his hand in my cheek and wiping my tears off, that's the moment I can actually say something changed, or some sort of change happened in me.
Mm.
I wanted to take care of him. Up until
Powerful.
then, it was all about me.
Of course, of course. I believe working in the kitchen as a chef or a head chef is very challenging. It can be also very demanding as well. Would that be correct? I mean, that there has been to work as a chef and also to be a father at the same time, or a family man is would be a very difficult, challenging scenario to live in. Correct me if I am wrong.
No, you're spot on there. Um, like as a chef or on a general, and as me personally, I took a lot of pride in being a chef, and like every creation on a plate was something I created. Like I took pride on that, and every plate which went out of my kitchen, we made sure that the plate was. And as a chef, I don't know a lot of people know this. It's very fancy when you see it on a TV, celebrity chef comes on and they go like, "Oh my God, I wanted to be a chef," and I've been there for 28 years, and as much as it's glorified in the television, you know, I worked on all the holidays, and no, I worked on Christmas days. I worked on my birthdays. I worked on anniversary days. I worked on my son's birthday. I I worked on those important days, which is important to our family. I worked there because it was demanding. That's what a head chef, or that's what a sous chef would do. And everyone is taking a holiday, I would go to work. When everyone's having a day off, we would think, regardless whether it's Australia Day or is it a Grand Finals Day, whichever day, when there is busy and people wanted to celebrate, we would be in the kitchen. Our family would be left at home to do their own
Mm.
stuff. We would be in the kitchen serving people, because we proud ourselves, we are here to serve you, and we know how good we can do this. But that turns around when, now, how do you take care of your family, the work life balance we talk about, and we don't have a work life balance at all when you talk about a chef.
And is that across all chefs? Chefs, is this all chefs that go through this now? Work-life balance, they're distressing situations, or is that, or does it really vary, or is this actually what actually happens generally across the board?
Okay, I don't want to generalize it by saying across the board it is.
Mm-hmm.
The work pressure usually demands it, and then you start giving in. And people who take charge of their own life and say, "Oh, I can't work this way," would be classified as a difficult chef, or they're not good to be a chef. So this usually happens in a high demanding places. Oh, you're a chef, you know this, you signed up for this,
Mm.
and then the head chef would say, "Well, we have a function today, we need to stay back and do it." I was always punctual. I was never late to start a shift in my career completely. And I can say I never been late to a shift, but that punctuality only applies to when I'm working. I made my wife wait 2 hours in the restaurant used to work, when I given her saying "Now let's go for a movie," and she would be waiting there for me to finish the shift. But my shift went 2 hours later than what I promised my wife. I couldn't keep my promise to my wife, my son, and my family, but I always kept my promise to my work.
Yeah, it must be.
Unless you do that, you're not a good chef or a great chef.
Yeah, that's very demanding. That would have brought upon you and upon many chefs also very distressing moments as well. But now we understand that you've stepped out of the kitchen as a chef. Would that be correct to say? And now you've transitioned into becoming a life coach.
Yes, certainly. It took a bit of challenge. When I stepped out for my son, I wanted to be close to my son and I wanted to take care of him. The only way I knew how to take care of my son was all I knew in my whole 28 years of career was how to be in a kitchen, how to cook. So I found a job in a childcare where I could pick him up in the morning, take him to the childcare and cook there. And then once when my shift was finished, I could bring him back. So that was the only way I could stay close to him. During that time, I lost one of my dear friend. So he was still in the same chefing job. The chef pressure got him too much, and dear friend, God rest his soul in peace. Like we lost him. That was something like which made me realize we don't take care of ourselves. We take care of everyone else. Even when we are in a family situation, I went for a lot of parties and everyone's enjoying. Guess where I would be? Find myself in a kitchen. Like I would go there and ask the host, "Would you like a hand with that?" And I would stand in the kitchen and do it because we don't know how to enjoy ourselves. I had to do it. If I can't be a role model for my son, then how do I show him how to take care of himself? That's where my thing search happened, and I was talking to, I went through a lot of mentors, now helped me to understand, and then I wanted to go deep into it, not just for myself, for my friends and fellow chefs who've been in the same situation, who doesn't know there is a different world out there. So I went and did my master's in life coaching.
Amazing, amazing. And now with your life coaching, do you normally focus on shifts to create that work-life balance, conscious decisions to live life, to thrive?
So what we do at the moment is I run my own coaching business as well as I train chefs. I got now 67 chefs under my wing. I coach them on every week. We run a 1 hour session with them to do a self care. How does a self care do? Even we run a goal setting seminar with them. We do a self care ritual. We set up. Lately, we did a bingo, hope bingo. So we do goal setting and then we do a bingo sort of thing. We do different sort of activity depending upon who is required and what has been required in the industry. So we run different programs for the chefs to find themselves and be self-aware and what they're doing and be back to their family and integrate work-life balance.
Amazing, amazing. What advice, Limi, would you actually give to others in a high pressure industry, just like a chef or any work high pressure industry, about balancing work, self care, life, especially for those who do have children or a family or are working towards to building a small family? What are some of the things that
Um,
you would say that basically be mindful of this? Do not dismiss this idea. Do not dismiss these red flags, for an instance.
sure. Um, Bring pride on one thing is like a double-edged sword. Like it cuts both the ways. It's excellent to create persona for yourself. Now, I work as a chef. Before, if you asked me, I would call myself, it was my identity. I am a chef. Now I tell myself as I am a father, I work as a chef. My profession comes after my family. So, how do I actually bring that back to reality is what I'm doing is different to what I am, being that identity of I am this. Like, there was one of my friend who is a smoker. He was always saying, I am a smoker. I don't smoke cigarette. I am a smoker. He put himself as a smoker. His identity was a smoker. So we separate the identity from what you do, and then we give them, like, if you want your children to grow up to be the best version of them, be the role model for them. So that's one of the best advice I got from my mentor. Like, be the change you wanted to see, like Gandhi said. I wanted to, like, do I want my son, my daughter, to have the same life what I'm having? If the answer is no, what would you like them to have? If you know how to do it, then be that role model for them. They are your reflection. So that was the best thing I could ever do. And take some time to be quiet. Every day we have this at home. We take 10 minutes to be quiet. There is no screen, there's no any entertainment, nothing. We just sit down and think about what our day was. It could be in the morning, it could be in the night. So just being like, if you don't like the way your life is running, change it. You have the power to do it. So that was the thing which made me and look at my family in a different way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your son was the cause or the inspirational move that you made to where you are now. Like your son
Certain,
inspired you.
certainly, he was he was the catalyst, he was the inspiration, and he was the meaning behind my purpose. So if I have to sum up, he was the purpose. And in the beginning, when we were bawling our eyes off, and when he was diagnosed with autism, it was the, like, best gift wrapped in, like, we didn't know it was a boon for us. It's the blessing in disguise which came to us. It made our relationship between my wife and myself stronger than ever, and it has brought us back. And we have helped. I could proudly say we have helped so many chefs around Australia to see how they could integrate this work and life balance in their family and keep up their word for them. A lot of chefs have broken their promises to their family too many times, and they hide themselves in the kitchen. So we have broken that and asked them to go back to their family and see what they can offer. And I can proudly say my son is my inspiration, and a lot of people have, like, gone back to their family and seen that inspiration in their own family. Like, it could be their parents, it could be their wife, it could be their children. So whoever it is, given them that inspiration to take that step forward and make that small change today.
Amazing, amazing. Sometimes we need to see what's actually important, and so when we do change, sometimes we prevent to do change because we don't see the importance behind the value of change. Like as for yourself, you saw your son. Your son was a pinnacle cause, was the inspiration that made you, caused you to make that change. So I think it's very important that we see basically, okay, I mean, what inspiration is this going to bring me? You know, who am I doing this for? Why am I doing this for? In your case, it was your son, and I guess that's a life lesson that everyone can take away. Do you find that chefs also? Do you find chefs that also who are in a high pressured environment also deal with marital breakups, problems, issues, taking their stress home, the problems home? Is that a common thing that actually happens upon within amongst chefs?
Certainly, well, there is a huge, like, families break down, um, is because you're hiding in the kitchen with the high pressure, with adrenaline rush and everything. When you go back home, you're not getting the same high as what you would get in the kitchen. So they would come back to the kitchen. It's like a invisible drug which is going through every single time. And when you come back, and even a lot of chefs don't take vacation, because when they go on vacation, they don't know what to do, because they wanted to have that high pressure all the time, and that's what gives them the pump. So when you go back home, what are you going to do now? You don't know. You don't have that same significance in your family in the same way. You're So what happened is they turn towards either alcohol or drugs or smoking or all of them. So that breaks down their mental ability, as well as it breaks down their family as well. After a while, they can't cope with being the same person in the kitchen and being a different person in the family. So the family leaves, and then they go back spiraling down, and eventually it will happen. What happened to my friend, like a lot of people would do that way. Um, yeah, so that's what happens in a lot of chefs' life.
Yeah, it's surprising. I mean, I never thought that chefs working as a chef could be so bloody demanding, pressured. I mean, I would think of that maybe through other careers, other jobs, but never ever I ever thought that this actually existed in a life of a chef. That's it comes surprising to me, and I'm sure it would be to everyone else as well. To those who are not aware.
Like in the beginning, I told you I was working in a pub. On a Tuesday night, we would have a steak night. So
Yep.
between 6:30 to 9 o'clock, we would push out 250 steaks. So that's how many steaks we need to cook to feed everyone in the restaurant.
In what time frame would
Um,
that be in?
from 6:30 to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So 2.5 hours, you push out 250 steaks.
Wow.
So if you think about it, how many, like every 6 minutes once you need to have a steak done up and gone, and in between, like on a busy time, you'd get about um, more than that, like come up and go, and you have to be in a perfect, like someone would ask for medium rare, someone would ask for medium, someone would ask for well done. So you need to be able to manage that with reading the orders, like someone should be listening to the order and then putting the steak and remembering everything with the exhaust going at the top of your head. So all these things, like high pressure situation, the only way you could do is like it asks for you in the beginning, and then you start giving in, and then you don't have any turning back at all. Like you don't know what else to do.
Wow. That's
So that's
yeah. That's a lot. But then you might get some unimpressed customers returning food and then starting all over again. Like it doesn't. That excludes all of the other errors and mistakes in between. That
Yep.
adds a lot more pressure on top of the workload.
Yeah, certainly that's a lot of chefs seems to be angry all the time. Like we have an image of oh, chefs are always angry. If you ever work a week in a kitchen, it changes your whole personality, your mental ability to understand anything outside. I could recite like 100 recipes by heart, but when it comes to when was my wedding anniversary or when was my wife's birthday, I would struggle. I would think a couple of minutes to oh, okay, actually, because we have invested all our mental ability at work. When we come home, we are exhausted, and I think our mentor as well. Like he said, you're only chef for a specific point of time, but rest of the time you're a father and you're a husband.
Very minimal.
And
Very
yeah,
minimal time as a husband, as a father, as a family man.
yeah,
Because what's the average hours now, like nowadays, or even doing back in your time, would spend in the kitchen? Would it be like 12 hours? Is it 10 hours, 15 hours? Like,
yeah. Like once when you spend that many hours, and then you come back exhausted. You all you wanted to do it is shut everything off and go to bed. Sometimes your mind's running so fast, you keep on thinking, you can't go to bed, you'll be tossing and turning. And if your wife is sleeping next to you, if you're tossing and turning, she can't sleep either. So a lot of chefs, what they do it is, after they work, they would come and go and watch some movie or switch on the screen. Now it's easier, social media, reels and everything. They watch it, they don't get enough sleep, and then they go back and perform the same thing over and over again. Every single day when they do it back again and again, it happens over and over again. It's eventually it start to give up.
Wow, and that pressure bottles up over time as well, leads them, as what you were saying earlier, leads them to drugs, alcohol, to unfortunate circumstances, marriage breakdowns, problems in the family. What is, or what would you say from your experience or understanding, what would be the worst case scenario that a chef, apart from someone taking their life, because that's drastic. That's a very unfortunate situation for someone to take out their life because of the work pressure, or there is no work-life balance. Pressure taking out your life. Beyond that, or apart from that, what other drastic situations or choices that chefs have to make? I mean, I mean, if they can't sleep at home, I mean, what about at work? How do they stay functioning? I mean, like the stress, the anxiety.
So basically, this is how a lot of chefs' life goes. They have a passion. They start as a chef, they work through, and then they get to a certain position. Um, During that time, they get married. They have their girlfriend or boyfriend, or they're married, and then the work demands them more and more, and eventually, because they can't give it, and once when they go home, they can't face their partners because they have broken their promise too many times. The only way to ease their pain is to drink or get into drugs. So then the other partner gets moved away and away, like they
Mm.
drift apart too much, and then they live like two people in the same house, roommates, and then they eventually say, well, this is not working, and then they go away. And some places where when there is children involved, it's even more worse, because the
Mm.
children don't see the chefs as a father or a mother. Their work is so demanding, they don't be present even when they are at home. They see themselves as they will come when they have a bad day at work, they would come and take it off at home. So that happens a lot as well. Here I am, um, giving you a wide picture. A lot of this happens, but it gets pushed under the rugs, and only the few chefs who are great would say, no, 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 it doesn't happen to me. Yes, it's good
Okay.
that it happened to you,
Okay,
but it
because I'm
happens a
think,
lot.
yeah, because I'm thinking is this even out there? Is it like, is anyone doing something about this? Is there any work being done? But as you said, it's being pushed under the rug because of the demand of the work that is expected to be delivered on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand. I mean, it's not a nice thing to live through, to experience. What do you think that needs to be done to change this, to change? Can there be anything done? Can there be anything done?
See, see, as I said in the beginning, um, until someone realizes it's not working, well,
Mm,
we are helping a lot of people understanding. Even in we have spoken to a lot of culinary schools as well, to give them an example of how the pressured situation would be, like adding this as a subject in the culinary thing as well, how to self-care themselves. Not only that, like a lot of hotels and restaurants, we have approached them to say, okay, how do you take care of them? How do you take care of
Okay.
your chefs?
Yes. Yes.
So we're doing a small work at this point, like trying and getting a lot of great chefs. I can say they are really, really great at what they do. But once when they don't take care of themselves, they break down, and then they are not useful for the society, for the family, for themselves. So here we are doing ecology check with, is it good for you? Is it good for others? And is it good for greater good? So we
Of course.
add this subject in the culinary classes as well as in the
Amazing.
in hospitality. Anyone who is joining it, we would ask them, if you're doing action, is it good for you? Is it good for others? And it's good for greater good.
Amazing, amazing. You're doing amazing work there as well. With all of the life coaching for struggling chefs out there, and providing them the tools and the resources. Is there anything else that you would like to share as your final words, final moments, or final anything that you would suggest out there to the audience who are listening?
Like one thing I would say is keep up your promise with your family.
Mm,
That's the first step. Even if it is a small thing, if you say, even if you start small and do this change today, and it can lead to more balance and fulfilling tomorrow. So start with a small thing. If you say you're going to do something, start with that. Keep up your promise with your family, and it'll roll over to a bigger thing, and that change would lead you to a balance and fulfilling tomorrow for yourself.
amazing, amazing. And if anyone wanted to get in contact with you, Nimi, which or what, well, basically, which would be the best way to get in contact with you?
I'll give you my contact details. So like now they can contact me on my mobile or WhatsApp, or they
Sure.
can find me in my um,
Social
Facebook
media.
as well. So I can
Okay, sweet.
social.
We'll make sure to add that as
I'll,
well. We'll make sure to add that as well in the captions. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, chefs out there, anyone who want to maybe even just get on a phone call with you, we will surely do that as well. Thank you very much, Nimi. It's been a pleasure. It's been inspiring to learn what really goes on in the life of a chef. Yeah, it's surprising to me around these different factors that you've shared today. But thank you very much, and we'll be looking forward to seeing more of you as well in the future. Thank you very, very much for joining us on the Resilience Project.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.
Because one topic is not being discussed at all. Now you opened it, and thank you so much for doing it for everyone. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. That's exactly what we're doing. We want to share the awareness, bring it out there, because there's a lot out there. There's so much out there that people don't know. There's a lot out there that's happened that I even don't know. I didn't even realize the pressure of that is imposed on a chef and how it impacts their lives. Not until recently you've shared some of the stories, and as you have now, it's crazy. It's sad, and it's also surprising to a lot of people as well. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to hearing more of it in the future. Thank you very much.